my emotions, which I think ties into my upbringing as a child. Like I've been lucky to have really great parents, and they've always been there for me. But I think in the Western culture, we tend to not really talk about our emotions and feelings, and how physically you'd feel, like if your experience like sadness or anger or happiness. And as a result, as an adult, I wasn't very good at communicating how I was feeling. So I'd either not mention, if there's something's upset.
Hi family, I'm Dr. Brenda. I'm a licensed daycare provider, a published author of 3 children's books, an advocate, a consultant, a veteran's wife, and a mother. If you need help setting up your daycare service or just looking for great ideas to incorporate a play-based learning approach as well as learn about research-based solutions to issues impacting education, this is the channel for you. Subscribe, share, like. Thank you.
My name's Chris Dixon. I'm from Norwich in the United Kingdom. I was born in London originally, but my parents moved to the east of England when I was quite young. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a freelance marketer. So I've been self-employed for just over a year now. So I come from a predominantly marketing background, so over 10 years in marketing experience. But I've always had a passion for illustration. I've always had quite a wild imagination. Drawing as a kid a lot, and it's something as part of my mental health journey that I've reintroduced into my life. Yeah, so during probably a few years before COVID hit, I suffered from mental health problems. So it might have been my early to mid 20s, and I wasn't really sure what was going on. I was getting a lot of chronic pains. I had a 24/7 tension headache, felt nauseous, stomach aches, which lasted for about 2 to 3 years. I couldn't get my head around it. Went on antidepressants, and that didn't really help at the time. And eventually that went away. But then COVID came around, and like many other people, started to feel like mental health symptoms again, similar to what came before. Always having a lump in my throat because I felt sad. Just felt a little bit lonely and isolated. So I started seeing a therapist, and through therapy, he helped me understand that I wasn't really that aware of my emotions, which I think ties into my upbringing as a child. Like I've been lucky to have really great parents, and they've always been there for me. But I think in the Western culture, we tend to not really talk about our emotions and feelings, and how physically you'd feel, like if your experience like sadness or anger or happiness. And as a result, as an adult, I wasn't very good at communicating how I was feeling. So I'd either not mention if there's something's upset me, or I'd let that all press up, and I'd kind of overreact in a situation, rather than manage and talk about my feelings. And I felt like I really wanted to help children avoid the scenarios that I've been in as an adult, by growing their emotional awareness when they're young, their emotional intelligence and their resilience, so they can handle any issues later in life far easier than I could, and they can communicate and talk to other people about it, and build compassion and empathy and things that I think, like when you're in the workplace and stuff, seems to take a back seat. Like the work is more important a lot of the time than how someone feels. Like they might have something going on at home, and you'd never know about that because they just throw themselves into work. But that doesn't take the problems away. It just masks it briefly, and then you can experience all kinds of mental health problems like depression and anxiety. So I just really wanted to help children avoid situations that we're seeing a lot of in the world at the minute with mental health. Yeah, sure. So there's a number of colourful creatures. So each emotion has its own creature. So it starts with happy, goes on to sad, and then it explores other emotions, such as feeling nervous and embarrassed. And with each creature, I wanted to cover both emotions that we perceive as positive, like emotions that we all like to feel, like when we're excited about going to a new place or a birthday party. But I also wanted to remove the stigma of what we perceive are negative emotions, such as jealousy, anger, and sadness, because I think it's important that we don't stigmatize and demonize those emotions, because they are natural. Like you see a lot in the media and in workplaces that people will feel uncomfortable if they see someone else being upset, and then that makes the person who's upset feel shameful, and there's more kind of burying of those emotions going on. So I don't think the stigmatization of those emotions helps anyone. So hopefully through this, it shows that these emotions aren't scary, and that if you're experiencing them, they're okay to talk about. So there's a creature on the left hand side of each section, and on the right there are indicators of how you might feel physically for a certain emotion. So like if you're feeling angry, you might want to cry, you might want to shout, or you might feel hot. And then there'll also be an example which hopefully is relatable to most children. So for the jealousy example, it would say you might feel jealous if your friend got the toy that you wanted, which comes from my own experience as a kid when I really wanted this Lego set, and my brother got it for Christmas, and that came out in that way. So there's a few childhood experiences. They're not like traumatic, because I didn't want to put children off, but they are realistic examples of why you might feel like that. Now each page, each creature you can now scan with your mobile phone, and it will come to life on the screen. So they'll talk, and then a different kind of physical feelings of each emotion will appear on the screen as well. So it's got an interactive experience to it too. So that's pretty much the bulk of the book. It's like a guidebook as opposed to a traditional storytelling experience, because I wanted to make it really relatable to real life scenarios for children. So the virtual copy itself has audio versions, and then the physical copy, there's a few different versions available. There's a hardcover and a lower price soft cover version, and also colouring books as well. Originally, I had it marked up as ages 4 to 8. But my friend's child, Hallie, she just turned 2 recently, and I gave them a copy of the book, and she loves it. And I made an animation as well, and I think they said that she kept going back to the animation and rewatching it, which is really nice to hear. That because this is my first children's book, so I was a bit inexperienced in age ranges. So it's nice to see that it's got a wider appeal than I first thought. And the fact that I think it's been read at a few preschools as well, and the children have been really engaged. So, which is a great sign that they can learn emotional awareness much younger than I thought they could. I mean, I'm not a psychology expert or anything like that, but I thought it'd be like later on. down the line that they'd pick it up more. But yeah, it's really positive to see that from as young as before 2 years old that they can pick up this book and start relating to it and communicating early on. First children's book, and I didn't really know where to go, so it was a lot of Googling. I found a print-on-demand company that I used with my website. I mean, with all the marketing stuff, that helped quite a bit later on down the line. But getting set up, that was all kind of a new learning curve. So the print-on-demand company, they take a lot of the overheads that I thought I'd have to try and save up for, like big print runs. They take that out of the way, as they just, as soon as you get an order through, they'll print it in their factory and dispatch it. So that keeps the overall cost down for me in the short term. And it made the book accessible from the word go. So I played about with that. I had to do some research into ISBN numbers for the barcodes on the book, because I didn't have a clue that you need them if you want to show them in libraries or in bookshops. And then it was a bit nerve-wracking, and then as soon as the feedback started coming in, and I hadn't had any bad feedback on it, it was like, okay, this me fumbling through this journey seems to be working so far. And I love learning new things, but I'm never one to do a lot of like pre-reading on something. I kind of get stuck into the process, and I think if I make mistakes, that's okay. As part of being human, and that's how we learn. It was mainly like the print on demand, which helped with that. With the drawing, I had a bit of knowledge from that being a hobby, and with the design work in marketing, that enabled me to bring the characters on the screen digitally. And then marketing wise, there's various avenues that I use, but then the next learning curve was creating the animation. So I asked a guy called Simon Wells to do the voiceovers. Because that's an area that I've never been that confident with, and he's done a cracking job. And then from there, I had to learn how to animate and stuff. So that was similar to starting the book. Muddling through, figuring out how to animate all these characters, some hints and tips from friends in the industry. It's very much been a journey of just trying different things and seeing what sticks, really. I'm doing social media, so I've done a bit of paid advertising through Facebook, where I was giving away like a free version of the ebook, so like half of the copy. Sign up for the email list. So I had over 5,000 downloads of that free version, which is pretty cool. I've had to invest in the advertising platform. And then I'm also part of a couple of other networks, like the Sue Atkins Book Club, who's a parenting expert over in the UK. She's done work with like Disney as well. So part of her network of indie authors. So she helps get the word out there. And a lot of it's a word of mouth as well from my friends and family. I'm just trying to like connect with people like yourself on LinkedIn and stuff, and just trying to spread the word that way. Slowly chipping away. I haven't seen like kind of a solution that has worked long term. So I'm just trying different elements, like something different each month. So try this Facebook marketing campaign, or try this email campaign. And then hopefully through experimentation, I might be able to get a formula where it gets steady sales on there. So I've just released my climate change book called That's an Earth Mason, which is in similar style. I'm just awaiting the printed samples, but that should be online to order as well. So that has a character like you would with emotion, but the character would be like saving water, for example, or buying local food and how that helps the environment. I just want to help children that feel empowered about climate change, because I think there's a lot of doom and gloom which has affected me with climate anxiety. And I think if we can get the messaging through to children in a fun and friendly way that there is stuff they can do, then, you know, we might have a more positive future for the environment. So I've done that. There's an idea floating about of making individual books for each of the emotions, a bit inspired by the Mr. Men series. There's a lady who did a reading for me on YouTube, and she mentioned that idea, so that's something in the works. I've also created a guided meditation little animation thing, which I'll do a book for as well. So yeah, kind of a book a parent could read to a child if they wanted to try and like relax them. And I'm also writing a fantasy novel, so that one won't be for children. But it's trying to draw parallels on like social issues in the world, climate change, but in a kind of the fantasy universe. So that's been quite interesting. So no pictures for that one, just trying to get some words together. So I've completed the first draft of that, and hopefully I'll get that one finished soon. But yeah, I'm really enjoying I've always, like, my mind's so busy all the time. Just like creating stuff in this. I don't know what ideas might come in the next few weeks. There's always something new. I need to make sure I stay focused on each project, because sometimes it can get too overwhelming and stuff doesn't get finished. But plenty of exciting stuff in the works at the moment. Share my imagination with people. I think it's something when I was younger, I've always been quite embarrassed about. Like, people would say I'm a bit weird because I say stuff in a different way than kind of is generally accepted. But now that kind of thing in modern age is being more celebrated, like people unique ideas and stuff. So I think the thing I enjoy about being an author is, just having that freedom to put whatever you think down onto paper, whether that's in words or a drawing, and sharing it. And then the added bonus is when you see people really enjoy it. Like with the nearly 2-year-old I was talking about, when my friend sent me a video of her watching the animation and copying the emotions. Yeah, it made me well up a bit. So yeah, just getting that, like, it's that purpose from it, from the creation that you've somehow magicked up in your head. I don't know where it's come from, but yeah, seeing it have a positive impact on others is incredible. Don't worry about what other people might say. Our mind can often be an enemy sometimes when we're trying to do stuff. But a lot of the things we think are going to be said is just us over catastrophizing. Like, when I first launched this book, I was always worried about, if it would get negative feedback, but that never happened. And I think my advice is just, if you've got an idea, there's no such thing as a bad idea. Get it down onto paper. Start working on a draft and then flesh it up, and try not to worry about what you think people might say, because that probably won't happen anyway. Especially if your idea is set out to help other people, then most of the people will come back with meaningful feedback, and that'll just inspire you to create more work. So yeah, I guess in a nutshell is, if you've got an idea, get it out there. I think the sky's the sky's the limit really with our imaginations. And that's the wonderful thing about having an imagination, is what we can produce from it. And we see so many things on TV and in books, in film. That is the collection of people's imaginations really coming together. And I think, just for aspiring authors, like, trust in your imagination. It's an amazing thing to have, free thinking.